What's up, YouTube? Kedris here. Hey, we got a lot to talk about today. News coming out of the city ground that Edu Gaspar has been banished. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I guess only time will tell. But I want to talk about it. I want to talk about the good things he's done, the bad things he's done, and even though it's not official yet, the time has come for him to go. Let's get into it. So, the tweet put out by Fabrizio Romano, it is over between the director Edu Gaspar and Nottingham Forest. The Brazilian director will part ways with Forest very soon. It has all been decided internally. Edu has been a big part of Arsenal rebuilding for 5 years, signed at Forest in July. What a short tenure. But now, set to leave as relationships with ownership is broken. Now, a lot of people want to throw the blame on Edu for the collapse this season. And though I attribute some of the blame to him, I don't think he takes all of it. There is a lot to go around. I think the players need large portion of it. I think Mr. Marinakis needs a large portion of it. And of course, Edu needs a large portion of it as well. A lot of people want to criticize him for the signings that he has brought in. But as I posted on X, this is my breakdown of the signings he has made. And to me, at least, they're not a complete bad signing list, especially with a lot of these guys like Luis, Luka, and Zinchenko just being loan deals. To me, they don't really count towards being a signing. And then if you look at ones like Ndoye and McAtee, you understand that these players, they've shown signs of being good. They just haven't consistently been able to apply that. So is that something that's really their fault? I don't know. Everyone hyped up Backwell before he came, including myself, and he has been a complete and utter dud. At the end of the day, I look at this list, I look at the check marks, I look at the loans, I look at the X's, and I have to say that for signings, Edu did good. He did his job. I just don't think that the players were utilized the correct way, and that comes from chopping and changing managers, not having a specific tactic, a specific identity for the club, jumping from Nuno Espirito Santos to Ange Postecoglou to Sean Dyche, and now we have Vitor Pereira. You're asking the players to do 30 different things and think 30 different ways. Now, I don't want that to take anything away from the fact that I do put blame on the players. The players have chosen when and where to perform. This is without doubt. It is a clear evidence of this. Just look at Manchester City. Look at Leeds United. These players have to hold smoke. And I think in the summer, with the sell of Anderson, the sell of possibly Murillo, possibly Sangare, the funds that are going to be available for whatever manager we decide to go out there and get will be enormous. So the players that manager can bring in will also be a lot. So what we need to do is attack the manager position this summer like we're looking at a future prospect for the next 2 to 3 years. Now, people are going to say, oh, the average lifespan of a manager in the Premier League is 18 months, and it's kind of coming down. That's true. That is 100% true. So that's why you need to use the people who get paid millions of dollars, have billions of dollars in their bank account. They need to find the guy. Guys, we have the money. We have the resources. This summer, right here, right now, could make or break Nottingham Forest for the next decade. Gotta get this on track. Now, overall, do I think Edu had to be fired? Absolutely. I think he took the full brunt of the blame. He put his name and stamp of approval on the Sean Dyche signing, whether he actually approved it or not. His name was associated with it, and the Sean Dyche ball was terrible. Tactical nuance was non-existent. The players were miserable. Like, at the end of the day, it's nice. We got points. We got results, yes. But if you have players who are dissatisfied, players who are going to talk to other players, or players who talk to agents who are going to talk to other players that are also managed by that agent, what you're going to have is a network of people that are like, Nottingham Forest have approached me. I don't want to play under Sean Dyche. No, it's not for me. And you could say a lot of people are going to be like, oh no, the Premier League, the pay, the money. Yes, that goes so far. But you have to recognize the negative effects of having a manager who is so antithesis to the modern day of ball and is so antithesis to the players' enjoyment of the game. And in this modern age, the players are getting more and more power. Their satisfaction is something that has to be managed. Gone are the days where the manager can be like, that player, get him out of here. He goes. Instead, a lot of clubs are going to go, no, the player stays. You're going to go. And that is the reality of modern football. Talking about the reality of modern football, I want to move on to one other thing, and that is the new financial fair play rules that will be coming into effect at the start of next season. Right now, we obviously are running on a PSR system, a profit sustainability reliability system, that does it based on income of the club. And what it does is it creates a transfer budget for the club to utilize in order to sign players in relation to whatever their profit margin is. And you're allowed to be within debt, I think within 110 million for over 3 years. Instead, in the summer, we are going to be transitioning to something called SCR, squad cost ratio. So clubs will be restricted to spending 85% of their football revenue on player wages, transfer fees, and agent fees. This is supposed to be a shift that improves the sustainability and aligns with the new UEFA regulations for Europe. The thing is that when you have PSR that says, okay, clubs can lose this amount of money over a 3-year period, that is something that like tells the clubs, okay, operate at a loss. That is what it's signaling to them. Like, guys, you need to spend as much as you can. And what's resulting in is a lot of things like Leicester, who went down. Now they're facing points deductions, and they're pretty much in the shithole, to be honest. So what they're trying to do is get away from clubs spinning out the wazoo, overspending, overextending in order to stay in the Premier League, which I think they still will do, to be honest with you, because you can spend up to 115% over your squad, your revenue, but it comes with points deductions and penalties for each percent that you go over. So I think it's a more balanced and fair system, and what it does is it focuses more on the sustainability of the club instead of the actual compatibility of the clubs. What is that going to do? I'm sorry to say, but it's probably going to consolidate the hegemony of clubs that are in the Premier League. And it's going to make it to where the clubs with more followers, with more fans, are probably going to be the ones that are going to end up in the Premier League. So what will end up happening is clubs are going to have to go out and proactively try to get fans. I think this could be a good thing, and it's something that's going to be a result, 4 to 5 years down the line. I don't think it's perfect. I think it does call into question competitive viability. Because at this point in the Premier League right now, you have a lot of the clubs that are competing evenly on an even scale. And what SCR is going to do is it's going to force clubs to kind of consolidate. Your big six are going to become more prominent. There are going to be more big six. You're not going to be able to break into that as easily. So the Aston Villas, the Newcastles of the world are going to have a harder time getting in there. Also, clubs being promoted to the Premier League, like the ones that are going to be promoted this season, are going to suffer from that as well because they're not going to be able to spend like Sunderland has this season, be able to stay up. But at the end of the day, I do think this is something that is overall a step in the right direction, especially with people finding a lot of the loopholes like selling clubs or hotels to each other and selling women's teams. This is a more fair balance when it comes to financial fair play. I just don't know if the world of football, we want to go back to the era of, well, you just have these six guys that are always in the top six, and no one else ever gets there, and you only have flukes every once in a while. To me, being an American who follows and watches college football over here, which is our American football, and the NFL, our professional football, fairness is intrinsic, and the rise and fall of teams is something that is ingrained into the culture of the sport. So to me, like looking at something where you have a hegemony of a certain amount of teams controlling the top of football, it's not something I want to see, but I do think overall this is a step in the right direction. So, big earners, impacts on clubs. Big earners, high revenue clubs with strong commercial income will have more spending power. Smaller teams with low revenue will find it more restrictive to invest in their squads compared to the old rules. Clubs that consistently stay below the green threshold can increase their spending capacity, whereas overspenders will see that their allowed headroom reduced. So, this is kind of the step I was talking about, a step in the right direction where if you go over your percentage, you're punished with a reduced percentage the following season and so on and so forth. You have to be responsible with your spending, with your revenue. Yeah, this isn't fair. Your Bournemouths of the world aren't going to be able to really succeed as well as they have in this environment. And then you're going to have clubs like Aston Villa who are not going to be able to be in the Big Six as often. I mean, unfortunately, it's sad to say that they are not top six in revenue when it comes to fans. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens with Tottenham. I believe, based on my predictions, they're going to get relegated. So how is that going to change the landscape? It's going to reduce the size of the teams probably from Big Six to Big Five. But I think Tottenham, under these rules, will climb back up into the Premier League. Might take a season or two, or it could be a total bankruptcy thing. But at the end of the day, like I said, step in the right direction. So that's all I have to say about everything. I wanted to talk about PSR, SCR. I wanted to talk about Edu sacking. He's still officially hired, but I think because of clause in his contract, we're not letting him go yet. But he's been asked to step away from operations, which is pretty much the same thing. Anyways, guys, that's all I got to say. Please leave a like and subscribe. Comment down below. I really enjoy responding to comments. If you guys want to check out the Discord, I'll put the post right here. And, at the end of the day, guys, the club, I think, is moving in the right direction. The Premier League in general, I think, is moving in the right direction. But we will have to see as it plays out over the years. Anyways, come on, you Reds.